I want to start off by thanking all of the folks at Guitar Center for putting this event together. And special thanks to Reinhold Bogner for taking time to be with us here tonight. Today we're very excited to interview Reinhold in person so that he can tell us more about his story, his relationship with Line 6, and his new amplifier, the Bogner Alchemist. Reinhold Bogner. Reinhold, it's great to be here with you tonight. You!
Hey, there.
And you look fabulous, by the way.
Thank you.
So, to start off, Reinhold, can you tell us a little bit about where you're from, where you were born, where you grew up?
None of your business.
Okay.
No, actually I was born in Germany, actually in a little village called Ulm. It's like south of Germany, like an hour outside of Munich, so it's still Bavaria, yeah. Drinking beer, right?
And how did you sort of get interested in tube amplifier design, and how did you learn about it?
Well, my father is like into electronics, and so I picked up the electronics, kind of like working with electronics, being around my father in the early age, and because he repairs TVs and worked for the military, repairing the kind of transmitters and stuff like that. And he also collects tube radios, you know, so like tubes were like around me since I was born. I became especially interested in tubes then when I was 13, 14 years old. My friends started playing guitar, and I found out, you know, most of the good guitar amplifiers are made with tubes, and I was like, wow, you know, that's great. You know, I kind of have a connection with that already. So I bought the guitar from a friend for a few bucks, a few D-marks back then, and didn't have money to really buy an amplifier at the time, so I just looked for parts my father had laying around and pieced the first prototype together, you know, with some help of like schematics from the local music shop, which was like basically old Marshall and Fender, you know, schematics, and just, you know, tried my best to like come as close as possible to the schematic. Sometimes it was a challenge because I didn't have the right part, but nevertheless, I learned like kind of like when you change this, you know, it sounds like that. You know, you play and you listen to it, you know, get shocked a few times in between, you know, like makes us keeps you awake, you know.
Yeah, you did get shocked then.
And so, but you know, like, you know, after you tried a few of the original kind of like schematics, you know, you just changed on some things to give it a little more, you know, your own flavor, you know, so to speak. And that's when it started, and you know, you know, people came to me more and more, and then like. I was like, wow, you know, this sounds pretty good now. And, you know, I wasn't planning to do a business out of it, just, you know, out of a need. I made an amplifier, and
yeah.
I had some friends that played guitar, and they just, you know, said, wow, that sounds good. It sounds better when I have it home. Can you help me out here? And it's like, well, you know, let me try, you know.
You were sort of known as the local sort of amp genius in your town, and...
Well, you know, it's like, not that many around anyway, so like, it's easy to be the best one, because... There's only one who modifies amplifiers at the time.
You were the man, yeah.
So, you know, most people are pretty friendly. Like, they sat down and said, wow, this is pretty good, you know. And they all pretty much said like the same. Like, you know, you should, you know, what you don't hear, you should go to LA. It's like, you know, what, LA? You know, like, you know, that seems far away.
So you moved in 1989.
Right.
And the decision to move to LA was based on input from the artist, but also sort of a desire to sort of continue to develop.
Well, it was basically like bring it to the next level, and, you know, for me, it only makes sense if you wanted the best, and it was for me very clear from the very beginning that, I mean, my ego is big, but it wasn't that big. But I just knew somehow inside me that I would be one of the best. You know, there's never the best, you know, because it's all a matter of taste. But it was, somehow I knew.
How did you get here? I mean, what did you bring with you? An airplane.
Check this out.
Yeah, can you believe it, huh? And what did you bring with you?
Lufthansa, of course.
Lufthansa.
I brought with me $600. And a modified JCM 800, which was totally rigged out. There was not much left except for the chassis and the transformers. That's pretty much what I brought over, and maybe a few socks, you know.
And some flowered pants.
Yeah, I had some self-made pants that look very similar to those, not as quite quality, but you know, like, yeah.
So $600 a pair of flower pants and a modified Marshall.
$600. That's all. I wish I could bring more, but that's all I could muster.
Yeah, I know.
Like, it's like I sold everything I had, you know, which wasn't much, you know. It's like, so.
What was the first job you?
Well, it was. I went to Andy Brower, which was at the time the #1 go-to guy for like studio rentals. So people, you know, want an old guitar, like any of those guitars he had, like, and he had like amplifiers and like mainly old stuff and some dumbbells. And there was an article in Guitar Player magazine which I bought in Germany every month, you know, for a horrendous price of like, I don't know, $15 or something, you know. And there was an article about him that he's renting stuff, which I never heard of business. You rent a guitar for a recording. I think, wow, what's that about? And but he knew all the people. Like, Michael Jackson went here, Steve Lucas, blah blah blah. He knows all the people. And I was like, wow, I should meet that guy. Maybe he can get me in contact with some of those people. And so I went there. With 3 bus stops. I think I was staying in Venice at some friend's house, and I took the 3 buses he took with the marshal to North Hollywood, and I walked in with my very bad English. It was so bad. Barely could express myself. I showed him the amplifier, and he seemed like, oh, that's really good. And it's like, so when can I start? And it was a Friday. It's like Monday. He's like, okay, you got a deal.
What was the first Bogner branded product that you designed?
First Bogner branded product was called Triple Chime. This was a 3-channel preamp. I only made 25 because after that, which took a long time because I all made it myself by hand. But there's only 25 of the original ones out there, and it was a preamp because in the 80s it was the refrigerator time, like where everybody had their rig, like it was like
16 space shock model.
Yeah, like the taller the better, like power amp and preamp and 20 effects. And it was like easier to make a preamp, and it was also the time when people wanted preamps. So there wasn't much of that preamp stuff around, especially 3-channel preamps, and so that seemed to be the sensible thing to do.